All right. Just because we had already started talking about it, we're going to jump straight into the wonderful movie. And just because only about two of us actually finished all of it, well, I'm going to nominate Danny to actually give the synopsis of the movie.
Well, if you haven't finished it, I think you should because it teaches you very important lessons about life.
You can't make me.
I'm not making you. I'm just suggesting that you should. So this week's movie was called Cyber Seduction: His Secret Life from 2005, and did you pick this show, or I may have added it to the list. I don't know, but it was originally a Lifetime movie. We all know how good Lifetime movies are, and the premise is you can't tell by the title. It's about being addicted to internet pornography, and it starts with the kid in high school who's the star swimmer, and he gets turned on to porn at a party he's at, and for some reason everybody is down in the basement, girls and guys, and they're watching porn on the TV together. And I don't know if they just discovered that porn exists on the internet or what, but they're all amazed at what they're watching. And our titular character, what is his real name is Jeremy Sumter, but I forgot what his name is in the movie. Oh, Justin. Sees it, and he like, it flips his lid. It's like the coolest thing he's ever seen in his life. Is you can just go to a website and find porn. And when he gets back home, he like goes on the family computer and starts searching for big-breasted women, naked college girls,
latex.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff, and it's instantly got the devil's got its hooks in him, and he just can't break free. And this starts. He's also happens to be like a state swimmer or whatever, like he's going to all state for the swimming championships. He's like the best swimmer in high school, and unfortunately now he's got this monkey on his back that he's addicted to. And as the movie goes on, his mom catches him at various times. His dad has to have a very awkward talk with him that there's more to sex there's more to relationships than just sex. There's love and sharing and bullshit like that.
Lies.
And just a bunch of lies. And he gets his brother in trouble. His brother catches him, watches it. A little brother, and shares it with a friend at school. And the friend tells the school that who showed it to him, and it gets back to Justin's mom. That now the little brother's involved in this circle of seduction and debauchery. And as the story goes on, he has a girlfriend too who's Christian and is really into going to church and stuff. And she finds, I guess they're still using PDA. Or are they still using PDAs at this time? 2005.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's some kind of PDA that has an internet connection. He's been watching porn on his little high school girlfriend's PDA, and she discovers the internet history and gets pissed off and breaks up with him, and his life is just in shambles. It falls apart. There's a funny scene where he goes to his friend's house, and now he's into the heavy stuff. He's into the bondage and the leather and the latex, and he shows his friend this new hardcore stuff he's found, and his friend is kind of disgusted by it and tells him to turn it off. He doesn't want that stuff on his TV, or I don't know what if that's what that
Web
is.
He didn't want it on his network.
Is it web TV? Is what it looks like
TV,
to me.
yeah.
Yeah, which if you younger generation don't know, we used to have some instead of what we saw computers, but a lot of people consume the internet through their TV through a box called web TV, and it basically gave you a keyboard and there was a box connected to the TV, and that's how you surf the internet through your TV. But anyway, and so everything starts falling apart, and towards the end there, he also hits on this girl named Monica. That's she's kind of like a hot little high school vixen, and that kind of leads to them because she has her own like web. Oh, she has her own website or web presence, but she's in like sexy lingerie and stuff on the internet, and he tries to hook up with her, and he runs away because he gets scared because he's never had sex before, and she's kind of like weirded out and hits her head on a sink, busts it open, and then towards the end, her friends find out that he's the one that caused her to hit her head on the sink, and they beat him up within an inch of his life, and he's down and out and addicted to porn, and he goes and to the high school gym where the swimming pool is, and jumps in and tries to drown himself, and he has flashbacks of his friends and family, and it brings him out of the water. At the very beginning of the movie, you see him jump in a pool, and that's the end too. It's him jumping in that pool, and but he thinks back to his family and his girlfriend and all that, and he comes out of the water and he decides not to kill himself, and he's smiling, so he wants to put his life back together. But it's
I think the only part that surprised me about that was the whole the slutty girl hits her head. The rest of it was very predictable.
yes, it's very. There was. I don't know if you would if this would be akin to the 2000s version of like the 80s Satanic Panic, but there was a time in the early 2000s where the internet was really blowing up, and cyber porn was the big boogeyman that everybody needed to protect their kids from.
And nobody knew how to, use a VPN or clear their web history or no safety precautions whatsoever. And you see all these pop-ups, and yes, that was very, very early 2000s.
Yes. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say this might be a...
While you've been dealing with this lovely movie, I have some news. There is $300 billion which the Biden administration may parcel out to somebody before the election as stimulus.
The cyber porn industry?
People like Joe?
Possibly. I've just, while you guys were talking about this great piece of artwork, I decided to follow up a YouTuber who has said that there has been $1/3 trillion sitting somewhere unallocated that a president like either Biden or
Trump?
yes, could actually turn into stimulus checks again.
Go to Trump's legal fees?
I don't know if it goes to Trump's legal fees, although if he gets elected, I suspect a lot of other people are going to have high legal fees too.
Well, let's finish this up, and then we can talk about that. there's
you were saying, Eric?
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, in terms of, this might be a controversial opinion, but in terms of adoption of the internet, I think at first there was not as great a need because it wasn't like people were doing virtual, work from home, or, it was really more of a curiosity. And I would bet that the idea that there was free pornography online was a pretty strong incentive for at least a fairly sizable portion of the population. I mean, I'm not saying that might be the only reason, but
that's the Futurama opinion.
Yeah, it's the driving force of technology behind the internet. It's porn.
Well, isn't it the truth
Porn
that like
and
most
venues.
traffic on the internet?
Pornography and war.
Well, what is it? What's the, I forget
Sci-fi
which porn site it is, but they are like the third most visited website on the net, on the internet
Right now?
Pornhub.
Pornhub?
Yeah.
But
Right.
Pornhub, they ended up boosting their traffic because they put a lot of educational stuff on there for a while.
Education?
Interesting.
Like non-pornographic, actually educational stuff. Like it was weird. I don't even remember all the details on it, but yeah.
What?
Hold on, let me see if I can find the article.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was a big growing factor between. You imagine that the main people who were using the internet at the time were nerds. They were guys living in their basements, not able to get chicks, so they spent most of their time looking at things like porn and places where they can sit around and argue, sci-fi facts. And look, when I was younger, that's what I was doing.
Oh, you sicko.
Okay, you
I
can't
sat around
just...
and I argued.
You disgust me.
Usenet alt blah 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 .image or whatever. The
Look,
alt something or other image, the GIF format from CompuServe and whatnot was invented. It wasn't necessarily invented for snapshots.
I mean, I
found a
remember
way.
as a kid, Leisure Suit Larry was huge, because that was the adult video game to have.
Oh my god, but you had to get all the way to the end to see anything.
My friend's dad had all of them, and we used to make fun of him.
And then I remember my friend had a strip poker game on his Commodore 64, and this is the first time we ever saw naked women on the internet, and it was a drawn comic version of a GIF, basically, not even a GIF. It was just pixelated art, but we were like, wow, man. And then he had some kind of hack where you didn't have to win to see the naked girls, and you could just go, scroll through them and see them all. So yeah, I think porn is always, I think they were one of the driving forces for streaming technology on the internet too. Yeah. Porn sites and stuff like that. And
well, I know that there's a certain corner of a Playboy picture which has been used for generations now as the standard material to feed image compression algorithms, to compare image compression algorithms from, let's say, the 80s to today. They use this tiny corner of a Playboy image and they say, all right, run this thing through your compression and see what comes out. Also, when I was at MIT, they had a multi-headed PDP-11 working on MIT's own version of the internet called ChaosNet, and it was running BSD something or other depending on the host. It was started out as an 1145 and then moved up to small VAX, I believe. Again, mostly discarded machines. Primary hard disk was a HASIC-sized 80 gigabyte. No, 80 gig, maybe 80 meg. I can't tell. It was a huge drive, but not really a lot of capacity. And the night TVs were essentially a multi-headed Hercules display, which is to say monochrome graphics with X by Y pixel display, and all of your characters are drawn accordingly through much magic in your Xorg system. Well, the pictures that they were getting were scanned Playboy centerfolds. At least initially they had to change it, but that's what they were using for screensavers. And when I went to the AI lab and they were showing me this brand new 286 video system that they were working on, the full page display that they had was also somebody's favorite scan of a Playboy centerfold. Yes, it appears that the Playboy centerfold has been part of computer science for a very long time.
Also, I wanted to bring this up because there's a point in this movie where he uses his mom's credit card to get porn. That just for the average kid that didn't really know a lot of stuff, most of our porn consumption was through like tiny clips of websites that you had to pay to access, but they would give you little preview clips and stuff, and maybe just some teaser shots.
I don't know about 2005, but I know that in 1998-ish, when I was like 16, most of those sites that required a credit card had really, really piss poor security, and all of their images and videos were based on a number. And you could essentially go up to your bar, your address bar, and change the number and go to the next one. Or put in a random number and find one.
So when I was younger, I found
also a lot of was that also when a lot of people found uses for those free credit cards that they were handing out to email that they were physically mailing to everybody who nobody ever signed up for, but those numbers turned out to be useful when you needed to prove your age on one of those sites.
Free credit cards.
I don't remember that either.
Well, I had heard that a lot of credit card companies were spamming people with credit cards, and well, they may not have actually signed up a lot of people, but a lot of those cards ended up on such sites where enter your credit card so we know that you're over 18 or whatever.
I don't remember getting free credit cards in the mail. Or if we did,
So in the early 90s, credit card companies were telemarketing and soliciting and, that whole, what's the Cobra?
Insurance?
The health insurance?
Analogy? No. In India, the Cobras, the British paid them for killing cobras, so people raised cobras and then would kill them. So the more they paid, the more cobras there were, and then they stopped paying, and all the people that were breeding cobras let them loose. That whole incentive program is never makes things better. So in telemarketing, if people's jobs and money are based on how many credit cards they send out, they just click yes, they accept it and send it out, and then it's years later before anybody finds out. We had tons of issues like that when I was at Chase, where they were just sending out credit cards, so they arrived to people at the wrong address, and yeah, it was interesting.
Dead people.
But they passed laws against that.
Yeah, it seems
Yep,
like a
dead
bad
people.
idea.
Oh, another. Yeah, Ray Stevens has a very good election year song. It says, "Grandpa voted Democrat for the first time in his life."
I don't get it.
Grandpa's dead.
Yeah,
He's dead.
since 95, but evidently he voted for Biden.
I got you. Boomer humor.
Also, he was a Southern Republican. So
Your
that
grandpa was?
no, well, most of them are. That's how it made it such a scandal, is that he was a Republican all his life, and then they find, when they count the votes, that he's voted for Biden. Of course, there was no problem with the last election. All of those rumors of mail-in ballots found in ditches, etc., were purely misinformation. Yeah, right.
They didn't say that they were misinformation. They said
before we
that
turn into Fox News, let's get back to the subject at hand. So anyway, Joe, you were saying that you could you found ways around the porn sites by hacking the numbering.
It's not hacking. I don't even think you could call it hacking.
Well, no. They passed laws that's it's considered hacking. You just change the URLs. So a lot of logins just gave you redirected you to a further URL, but there was nothing to stop you from going to that URL directly.
So yeah, that's what I wound up doing. I found a website when I was about 16 years old called Super Thumbs, and all it was just a bunch of thumb images of porn, and I would click on one, but that clicking on that one brought me to the site, and then I had free range on that site because I was already in there.
Right,
so
and they had like stupid naming schemes. So they'd have the name of it or the number scheme of it, and then _ thumb. And so if you wanted the full one, you just removed the _ thumb.
I didn't even have to change any URLs. I just clicked on the one image, and it was basically just put me right in there, and I was able to navigate the rest of that site pretty much.
Too bad you didn't know how to script back then, and you could just script all the wget, all the links, and loop through them.
I didn't have that much storage back then, man. Imagine if I wget all of that.
Right? I didn't even know what Linux
smart
was
enough
back
to do any of this stuff.
If it was physically on my machine, somebody would find it. Actually, no, whatever went onto my machines, but yeah.
But did any of your parents ever catch you crouched over your laptops and just?
Oh,
just
no. See, you're making an assumption there. We didn't have laptops in 1996.
At the family computer then.
Excuse me, we were talking either AT type machines, or I remember when I had my 100 megahertz Packard Bell 16 meg RAM,
486 DX266.
Wait, did any of y'all get caught doing that stuff?
No.
The parentals?
No. I never got caught in the act, but my mom would find cleanup materials, let's say. And that was pretty embarrassing.
Hard socks.
Yes, exactly. Stiff clothing.
Did she ever question you about it? Because that would be an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
Not directly, because I mean, she would make comments about it, and that was enough
Your
to
clothes are
horrify me.
extra starchy. Why are you starching your
She would
socks?
say something about
I'll
like,
have to wash your socks 6 times just to get it loose.
she'd be like, "Did you step in something? Because boy, that's the socks for sure were pretty crunchy." Oh God, disgusting.
Actually, it's why I had a rather large collection of white handkerchiefs for some strange reason for many years.
You guys didn't just use toilet paper or Kleenex like a normal person and throw it in the toilet to get rid of
Not
it?
till
You
later.
just
Listen,
used your,
when you're
used your
14
clothes?
years old,
It's gross.
You're not
No
smart
ghost
enough to think of
babies.
that. Yeah.
You just couldn't wait to be
Listen,
next to some
I didn't get
Kleenex or
smart.
toilet
I
paper.
wasn't.
You had to do it immediately.
No, you know, when I was a teenager,
That's
I
not
wasn't that
mine.
smart. Took me until I was a married man to be smart enough.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you get better at it the older you are.
There's a point in this movie where the mom eventually puts the computer into the, I think, the den or the kitchen or something, takes it out of his room, and then she just cuts off the internet altogether, and that's when he has to sneak her credit card and subscribe to some more internet so he can start looking at some more porn. And also, by the way, is this really an addiction? Because aren't you done after like 5 minutes and then you just go
At
about
least.
your day?
I
No,
mean,
for
I
some
guess
people it does turn into an addiction because there's an endorphin rush in you know, finding the videos and watching the videos. It is a known addiction for
Is it really?
some people.
Because, how can that be though?
5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times a day. At what
Oh
point is
my
it
God.
addiction, Danny?
Listen, strong muscle and some chafing, right?
Never
Better
mind.
lose.
Here's an entire world invented for the internet. Second
I don't know,
Life.
man. It just seems to me like once you're
No.
done, you forget about it.
Second Life has a completely virtual universe that people have been making serious USDA coin on for generations now.
Well, people did the same thing with Warcraft. I mean, they turned grinding into a business on Warcraft for a long time. I mean, people used to make money with it, and then the makers changed things to make that a lot more difficult.
Also, there is an entire industry of upgrades to Fallout to produce more adult environments, costumes, partnerships, etc.
Like
That's
mods, game mods.
That's another thing I don't get. It's like
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, there used to be a YouTube channel which used to cover a lot of these upgrades, and a lot of the YouTube videos had to have certain areas had to be blanked out to match YouTube standards. Of course, the channel also had a Patreon page where you could get the unedited version. I think YouTube has helped Patreon more than Patreon has helped anything else.
No, but there's been like mods for that type of thing for a while. I do remember hearing about a mod for Tomb Raider where you could like make everybody naked or something back in the day. see if I can find that one. Maybe I'm just getting old and my brain is, wrong.
Actually, I think there was even some
one.
kinky stuff for Duke Nukem, the old DOS thing.
The
That's
side-scrolling one or the 3D one?
I don't know. I never dug into it that deeply, but I had heard that there was a lot of them. One of the more famous ones was the Energizer Bunny, that you turned your targets into Energizer Bunnies that you could keep shooting at.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. That's the Duke Nukem 3D.
Also, on top of all of this, you had like I don't know. There were ad-supported dial-up internet services that probably should fit in here somewhere.
Net Zero?
Looks
yeah,
like the
Zero
best.
for a while.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Net Zero. Yeah, was one of the ones. I mean, companies that really abused poor innocent Internet Explorer, whatever, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was. I mean, the amount of crap that
All
those
the toolbars.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
Didn't even see the web page.
I was just starting out in IT back then, late 90s, and yeah, like everybody's computer that I'd go to fix, it would be like, do you mind if I uninstall like the 7 toolbars you have? Oh, I didn't even notice. I'm like, it's the top 3 inches of your browser. Like, how do you not notice? Why is my browser so slow?
and also, yeah, that's when Google actually had a toolbar that went with your Firefox or whatever too.
Everybody had a toolbar.
Yep, and every time you downloaded something, it wanted to add another toolbar to your
Let's
system.
add a toolbar. Make it easier to
Right.
search on here next time.
So, I don't know what you guys would rate this movie. Like, I think
Well, we
I,
know it was your favorite
Negative
movie.
12.
Danny loved it.
I think it's going to be a midnight cult classic movie, kind of just because it's the portrayal of. It's so far. It's what a house mom thinks that would happen if their kids started watching porn on the internet. Like, there's a point in the movie where the mom first brings it up to the dad, and the dad even says, "Yeah, all boys do that. They all look at porn and naked women and girls with big boobs." I think that's how he put it.
I had Playboy's magazines underneath my bed as a kid.
Yeah, and but this movie is basically what is that? Mazes and Monsters, that old Tom Hanks movies, but with internet porn instead of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's
Madness.
It's the Reefer Madness, Mazes and Monsters of internet porn, and for that reason alone, I think it's kind of a funny snapshot of the early 2000s and what the attitude was, even among politicians at the time. Was this scare about how porn is corrupting kids, and I don't think that's really true. But
They're still on that. I mean, how many states now have made porn not necessarily illegal, but age gated in such a way that porn sites won't go there?
yeah,
But
that's
it doesn't
true.
stop Texans from going to Pornhub.
What was the UK doing? They were trying to make it so that anything explicit you would have to like have your ID or something. Like it was really, so there was no anonymity whatsoever, and I don't know that it actually fully passed or not, but I know they were threatening to do it.
I think it's 200 to monitor, though.
I think it's
Yeah.
so much easier just to get a VPN.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'll look like I'm in Outer Mongolia if they really want.
Yeah, well, a lot of this is feel-good legislation, and if they tried to implement the entire EU has wanted to put restrictions on any cross-linking on the internet worldwide. And if they ever enforced it, it would just mean that the EU would become North Korea, because no internet provider would want to get sucked into that regulatory maelstrom, hellhole.
That's true.
It would essentially
gone
be
away.
unenforceable.
Right.
Yeah, I think there is 5 more states that said that they need age verification to access
Now,
adult content online now.
I do have, some concerns in regards to like deep fakes, AI generated porn, and stuff like that. But you're never going to get porn off of the internet.
What's your problem with it?
AIs and deep fakes?
Yeah.
It's the new revenge porn. I mean, I had a problem with revenge porn too.
Oh.
That's totally different.
So people are taking every picture that they can of somebody, popping it into like Stable Diffusion and making
revenge porn is one, and then also you have celebrities that aren't doing porn, that whose faces end up on stuff, and it can be a hit to their reputation.
You can do that with just Photoshop too. I mean,
yeah, but not as well, not as easy.
Not as easy. Well,
it's showing up a lot more.
Let's be honest. I've sat there and played with some of this. You'd have to get a lot of pictures of different angles and stuff of somebody to be able to create a Stable Diffusion checkpoint or something to be able to get it in there.
There aren't a lot of images of Scarlett Johansson out there?
I'm just saying that Photoshop is much easier than trying to create something with Stable Diffusion, unless you're going to use it for a lot of different things. So again, Scarlett Johansson, yes, but as revenge porn, that's something completely different. You're gonna have to like sit there and follow this person around for a while and hope that, or just hope that they sit there and take so many selfies of themselves that it's actually worth fucking doing.
Well, or if somebody gets on the Lugcast here and has all our images with all our faces moving around all the time,
they can do anything with my face. I'm surprised they haven't yet. Look at this beautiful face. Look at this.
Right?
Oh, I will. You just wait.
Okay. It's all going to be with headphones on, apparently.
I think Scarlett Johansson's more worried about her voice being copied.
Well, that too.
I can't believe they had the balls to do that.
And then be like,
no,
it wasn't
it's
AI
not. It was
generated.
an actress.
It was just somebody that sounded similar to her. It wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
What was it?
It was OpenAI. They wanted to use of the movie Red, because she was the voice in the movie Red. That they wanted to use her voice as a computer generated, as an AI voice, and she said no.
Where was
and
she
so
Red?
they
multiple times she said
her. I'm sorry, not Red. You're right.
Oh,
her.
Okay.
And so they just basically did it anyway. And then she found out and sued them, and they're like, no, it wasn't her voice. It was some other actress. It's like, okay.
Bring forth this actress. We can't.
I'm very curious to see what happens with a lot of these large language model companies having stolen so much of this material, is the New York Times going to win? You know, that type of stuff. We'll see.
What's going on with the New York Times?
So you can type in specific articles and it will regurgitate verbatim the materials from like newspapers and stuff like that. So the New York Times is like, you can't just steal our stuff and take it and put it in your system. Like it's copyrighted material. And they're like,
Not
oh no,
copyrighted.
it's fair use because it's on the web. And they're like, no.
I wonder
That's not
if
how
I
that
could
works.
like take all of the recordings of my voice from the various podcasts I've done over the years and just anything else where my voice was recorded and put together an AI large language whatever with my voice and use that to like generate audiobooks and
Yes.
put it on Amazon.
It takes a lot less than that, though. It only takes like 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
It's a lot harder than you think, unless they've really, really, really upped their game with that. Yeah, because I know the guy who does Hacker Public, Ken Fallon wanted to do that. His wife wanted to read that so that he can do audiobooks for his son. Again, this was a couple of years back. Unless they've made leaps and bounds.
They have.
And again, I think that might just be hardware generated. I mean, we're talking about, I know Danny was talking about doing some stuff with trying to get a, what was it? You were trying to create your own, what was the like Alexa type of a thing? And you're talking about how all the whole audio generated.
That was trying to get voice to text working for Home Assistant? Is that what you mean?
I think so.
Or do you mean when I was using Llama this last time?
No, the voice to text.
Yeah,
Llama's more
voice to text.
Llama is more what's it called? Too goddamn late. Yeah, that's just ChatGPT type shit.
So according to Ars Technica, and this is last year, Microsoft's new AI can simulate anyone's voice with 3 seconds of audio. And this is using the VALL-E system or AI model or whatever.
Well, I think that's more their hardware, though.
Well, no, that's just the next generation. If you're saying it was a couple years ago, then yes, you were probably right that it would take a lot more. But now it takes very, very little. And that's to create something that's a close mimic. If you want something that's like really clean, it's only like maybe a minute or two of audio.
Now, is that something? All right, I didn't cut you off there. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, that's all it really takes. And so one of the scams that's been being perpetrated for a number of years now is this like your son, your grandson, like someone is in trouble somewhere, and it's just some guy like who's covering his mouth and talking like this, and whenever they say, well, it doesn't sound like you, they go, oh no, my nose is broken, or and it was kind of a hack. Like it was, if you were smart at all, you would probably not fall for it, but they called my grandmother like several times and claimed to be me, and I have other friends that it happened to as well. So it's just these people who do it now. If they can find any audio of you somewhere, then they'll create one of these models, and instead of having to pretend like their nose is broken, it sounds like you. And so I just basically told everyone in my family, I'm never going to call you and claim that I'm in trouble somewhere and need $3,000 or something in gift cards. Like, it's never going to happen. So don't fall for it. But that's so in terms of the nefarious ways that things can be used, that's absolutely. And we're talking like it costs almost nothing. There are lots of websites you just go to, upload the clips, and they generate the model, and then you can just basically type in whatever you want, and it creates the
Is
voice
it that
file.
accessible?
Oh yeah, and cheap.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't seem, well, again, this was a while back, but it wasn't that easy just to put it all together. It took much bigger hardware.
Well, they're all using like cloud stuff, so
Right.
yeah. There's one called Speechify, and trying to see what it's try for free, so you can do it for free, and then trying to see what their pricing is. But I know most of them are pretty inexpensive, so.
Well, you've also got to remember that for $70, you can get an add-on for Raspberry Pi 5 that starts putting a minimal AI network attached to your Raspberry Pis. I'm not saying that that's the kind of thing, but I'm just saying that the scale is getting down where they can do it that simply for virtually any, cheap computer. The stuff that they have when they have racks of the stuff must be pretty sophisticated.
So this looks like pre-generated voices. Do they have one where you can create? Am I missing the part where you can create?
I'm trying to find it. It's
because this has like Gwyneth Paltrow and Snoop Dogg and stuff.
There's a blog article on how to create an AI voice from a sample, and collect voice samples, get clear audio files of the person's voice you want to replicate, pre-process the audio, clean and trim the audio clip to ensure high quality input, analyze with AI tools using deep learning algorithms to analyze the speaking styles and characteristics, generate the voice model, use voice cloning techniques to create a custom voice model, synthesize the new voice, generate the new voice using synthetic voices technologies. So,
because from my understanding, even just speech to text isn't that easy to do.
No, it's so far ahead of where I think you last saw it.
Can you? Well, do you think you can run speech to text on, like, create a model at home?
Well, they're getting pretty good with that too. So, excuse me. I have more experience with text models, and then some like Stable Diffusion stuff. And you can run a lot of that on a pretty modest, I think I have a 6 gig NVIDIA card. So it's not even like, yeah.
Well, I've run ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion, but that's a lot different than speech to text. Or not really. Speech to text. Yeah.
Why is it that different? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not being confrontational. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I just know that for the longest time it's been that you've had to use like Google, like what's it called, the Mycroft was even using Google's speech to text because it was too big for them to handle on their own.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, so Speechify has this voice cloning. It says it's try voice cloning. It's free. Commercial usage rights, maintain accent, nuances, and style. You get 100,000 characters per month included. Generate new audio in seconds. Use an editor for narrating any script. Built for content creators, presentations, training, and e-learning. I was actually just looking at podcasting tools to use AI, like to basically either using like you can do one that's like a word processor almost, where you see the transcript of the audio file that you're working on, and you can just like delete sections of it, and it just does the editing in the background for you instead of the traditional like waveform editing. And that system allows you to clone your voice, and just literally, if there's a section where you want to replace something, you can just type in what you want it to say, and it will use a clone of your voice to create that section of text. And it's supposed to be like really clean and seamless. So it's not that it's certainly not expensive, and it's really not that difficult from what I can see. So. I mean, it's certainly at least slightly dystopian, right? You know, it's a little scary that, especially for all of us who like put stuff out there, where if all they need is some clips of us speaking. Yeah, I don't know. And, you know, this is the type of technology that our lawmakers are so far behind that, you know, they just can't even fathom how this stuff works. And for them to make any kind of effective policy, like they don't know how any of this, you know, how are they going to possibly legislate anything around this, you know?
Yep. I love how we transitioned from porn to AI voice generation.
Yeah, for speech to text, Mycroft is still using Google's STT engine. But again,
Mycroft is still around?
Yeah. And they put out a new one within like the last year or so.
My laptop is not charging. I don't know why.
What's not charging?
My laptop.
Oh, no.
Broke it.
That's not good.
I'm going to have to reboot.
Broke it.
See, I don't know. That means I'm going to have to get the recording from you, Honky.
Nobody's
Is it
recording the Jitsi other than you.
Not the Jitsi recording, the mumble recording.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, that means we can talk smack about Danny for a little while. Oh, he's not gone yet.